You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I just got off the phone with Marco Rubio, Senator Marco Rubio. We'll talk about that later on, and I interviewed Senator Marco Rubio, just finished, and it will air on the radio tomorrow in its entirety. Although, if you're a Patreon supporter, you can hear the interview now. I put the Marco Rubio interview on our Patreon page for our Patreon supporters that will be airing on the radio tomorrow morning, but we'll talk about that later because some interesting things came out of that. But first, I want to talk about what's going on at Fox and Friends, what's going on with President Trump, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with President Trump, okay? And I want to go through Trump's Truth Social here, and I think a lot of people forget that Trump is speaking to us all the time, just like the old days of Twitter, but he's doing it on Truth Social.
Yes.
And Truth Social is awesome. You guys should follow me there, Real Brian Craig on Truth Social. And
follow me.
Yeah.
Florida Mermaid. You got to get on Truth, but a lot of people have the Android, which is not available yet. I mean, you can download it, but it's not open yet.
Google.
Oh, you're kidding.
Google just said, and until they get more moderation on Truth Social, it will not be allowed in the Google Play Store.
Wow.
Than the news today.
That stinks.
But we have iPhones, so we have Truth Social in the app form. Yeah. But
you can do it on your desktop.
That's right. That's right. But let me go through President Trump's Truth Social feed here. We'll talk about a couple things. First one here is, this is great. You know, we got our Trump rally on Saturday, and 8 hours ago, so this was this morning, President Trump truthed, that's what you call, instead of tweet, you truth on Truth Social. Big rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday night. Crowds already forming. Wow. Much, much, much to say. Don't miss it.
Oh, I'm excited. It's going to be a good one. You know what? Do you think he's going to announce?
I think it's possible.
He should. He absolutely should.
This Pennsylvania rally, which is a very important rally.
Yes, it is.
They're all important, but this one's especially important. But this is the first time President Trump has had a rally since the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. Yes. And what I would like him to do is show the footage that the Trump family have of the FBI ransacking the home of the president and going through Melania's closet and all that stuff. I think that would be phenomenal.
Well, you know, they just put this ridiculously fake picture of all these documents strewn all over the floor, which obviously they took that photo after they put them there. Like Trump leaves all his important documents all over the floor to trample over. I mean, it's so stupid. And he even said that. He said, well, they took a picture of all the documents they threw on the floor as if I did it. And he said, I thought they were classified, but they put pictures online.
Yeah, I was going to read that, but that's paraphrasing what he truthed. But
right,
yeah,
if he showed that footage, like you said, it would show that he does not keep the documents all over the floor. It would show that they threw them on the floor, and you might even see them throwing them on the floor and taking that exact picture.
You know, this is what happened. They released this photo, the Justice Department today, of these documents that are covered up on the carpet of Mar-a-Lago. And they're trying to give you the impression that Trump just had everything thrown all over the floor of whatever room in Mar-a-Lago that was.
Just to walk all over
so people could just come and read through the classified documents all the time. And let me read you President Trump's truth post, which is basically what Kathy said, but that's okay. But just in case we missed something here. Terrible the way the FBI, during the raid of Mar-a-Lago, threw documents haphazardly all over the floor. Perhaps pretending it was me that did it. Yep. Exactly. And then started taking pictures of them for the public to see. Thought they wanted them kept secret. Luckily, I declassified.
I love it.
Isn't that great?
That's really great.
Isn't that great?
If he shows that footage, it would be absolutely epic. But it's 9 hours. But they could show a little teaser, like edit it together.
Yeah.
And you will see, I bet if you can see in the footage where they throw the documents on the floor and take a photo, the exact photo that they uploaded to the.
Well, it was totally staged.
Right. It was totally staged. And you probably can see them staging it. But I would like to see a little sneak peek of that. I would like to see, if he announced he was running I think it would guarantee Oz's victory. I think it would guarantee a win for him.
Yeah.
He's got to get that momentum going, and I think it is the right time. I know he wanted to wait till November, but I agree with you what you said before. If he announced now, it would really give momentum to the elections. They're only a couple months away. I mean, we're in September tomorrow, so it's 2 months away when we all vote. That goes by very quickly, politically for sure. He needs to announce at this rally, get the momentum going, and get excitement for Oz, excitement for MAGA. And then if they do indict him, he can say, well, Joe Biden is using the DOJ to go after his political opponents.
That's right. That's right. And, the way they did that was just so stupid. See, a lot of people have been saying, well, why hasn't Trump been out there talking? He has been commenting on Truth Social, but he hasn't done any public speaking until this rally on Saturday night because he wanted the Justice Department out there, hanging out there, showing they got nothing. And then this photograph they did was stupid. Now, the other day—
Sometimes, Brian, silence is more powerful than saying something because it makes the other people wonder, what's he going to say and when is he going to say it?
Now, the other day, the FBI, they retired the FBI special agent in charge who was in charge of all this stuff. And a story came out today through a statement of his lawyers. His name is Tebow, but he spells it differently. The FBI agent that was he was involved in covering up the laptop. He was involved in Crossfire, Hurricane, everything else. His lawyers released a statement, which I read this morning, that he retired, okay? And President Trump posted on Truth about that earlier today. He says, people that retire from the FBI aren't perped walked out of the headquarters building on a hot, sunny afternoon in August after being screamed at and ridiculed by his bosses. Like the laptop, this was the firing from hell. Now, this is an interesting thing here because—
What does he mean by that?
What do you mean?
I don't know what he's saying there.
Well, this FBI agent in charge of all this stuff that covered up the laptop was fired.
Oh, and so he's saying— how does he know that? He's saying he was fired. I'm
going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now. So the story came out day before yesterday that he was fired, and then last night the FBI agent's attorney said no, he retired and he wasn't escorted out. Those were just friends of his.
Oh, I only heard that he was retired.
And President Trump gave us information that has not been reported. He said after being screamed at and ridiculed by his bosses. See, what a lot of people don't want to accept is that Donald Trump is a president of the United States, and he will be again. But when he says something like that, that means it really happened. He has sources and people that have told him this has happened. He's not the host of the Celebrity Apprentice anymore. When he says the guy was screamed at and ridiculed by his bosses, he's got some firsthand reports of that, President Trump, and that has not been reported anywhere. And I haven't seen that anywhere except on Trump's Truth post.
And I promise you, they had these whistleblowers that they're trying to suppress. There are people in the FBI that are friendly to Trump and are giving him information and letting him know exactly what's going on.
Well, that's right.
They're not happy with what's happening with the raid and with all this other stuff, the laptop, and they're probably letting him know this is what's really going on. So you're right. They don't want you to know that, but he has a lot more friends than you realize, and people on the down low that are giving him information, but he really bides his time. I wish he would reveal more of what he knows to really expose these people, but we'll see what happens Saturday. It definitely will be interesting.
Now, what's going on over with Steve Doocy on Fox and Friends is insane. And, Steve Doocy, since the break, now I don't watch Fox and Friends, and I know you guys don't either because I'm on the radio at that time, okay? But if something happens like this, I'll see it online after I get off the radio. This is Steve Doocy this morning. He's defending the FBI again. So Fox and Friends are totally trashing President Trump again, siding with the FBI in their break-in. And what Steve Doocy is also doing, he's defending this photograph of the documents that the FBI put all over the floor to imply that this is how Trump kept classified documents. So let me play this for you. This is Steve Doocy this morning on Fox, and, well, I guess they're really not our friends, huh? But here it is.
Show what they're saying is the DOJ is saying the special master is unnecessary because it could actually harm national security interests. Well, here's the thing. When you look at those documents, can we go back and look at those documents on the floor? Keep in mind, according to the filing, the agents found 3 classified documents in Donald Trump's desks. What were they doing in the desk?
Well, I can't think of any place more secure than the desk of President Trump inside the Fortress Mansion under Secret Service protection at Mar-a-Lago.
You know, he sounds like...
It's not like it's in my desk.
He sounds like an FBI sycophant.
FBI spokesperson.
I mean, he's got a thing for the FBI.
He's like one of those cop
with
groupies.
them or something. Yeah, exactly. He sounds like a cop groupie.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. He's been defending them like crazy. And I really don't think Brian or Ainsley appreciate it because they seem to challenge him a lot. The clips I've seen, you know, I don't think they're challenging him enough. But I said to you, Steve Doocy's going to destroy this show. Fox is making another move, and it didn't work well for them in the past when they did this in the last election. But they're making a move away from Trump again.
That's right.
And what they're going to do is have select hosts now start pulling you in that direction. Slowly, or maybe a little less than slowly. And Steve Doocy's one of those hosts. And believe me, a lot of the people there do not like Trump. It probably would surprise you, the ones that didn't. But some still do. But they're going to have some hosts that are slowly going to try to pull you away from Trump in that direction. It's not going to work. And I think it's really going to hurt that show. And I think Brian Kilmeade is not happy
No, he did not
with
look
him
happy.
saying that. And with him constantly defending what's happening here. And I don't understand the logic other than he's like an FBI groupie. He's just like in love with them and just thinks everything they do is above board.
We never know for sure in these things. But my first thought the first time I saw him do this was a couple of weeks back, Doocy. And I thought, well, maybe because his son Peter is up and coming at the White House and all this stuff, that he's doing all this sucking up to the FBI to help his son get some sources for stories or something was my thought. But it doesn't make it any better. But let me tell you something. First off, no one should be watching Fox and Friends or any other morning television. Listen to me on the radio.
Exactly.
Okay?
Go to YouTube, Brian Craig on YouTube.
You can watch and listen to me on the radio on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig, at those hours, and I'm much more interesting. And you won't hear me trashing President Trump ever. I will never disagree nor criticize President Trump. It'll never happen. Mm-hmm. But for people who, for some reason, want to watch morning television, if they want to hear that kind of crap, they'll watch Morning Joe.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds
CNN,
like Morning Joe
or Today Show.
Exactly.
Why would you? Yeah, why would you want to watch that? It's insulting to the audience.
Exactly, and I think he is going to really, if he keeps it up, he's going to destroy that show. Their ratings are going to plummet very quickly.
Here's the thing,
because people won't stand for that.
Here's the thing. Okay. What Steve Doocy, I almost said Peter. I keep wanting to say Peter Doocy. What Steve Doocy is doing when he does that, he is doing to Fox News Channel what Brian Stelter and Jim Acosta have done to CNN, damaging the brand.
Well, and Chuck Todd's in trouble now. They're reporting that his ratings are so low that, you know, he's going to lose his show. And I think he is. First of all, I don't know. You know, they replaced that one guy, David Gregory, with him. And I never understood why they hired Chuck Todd. I think he's horrible. He's unattractive and just awful.
Do you remember what David Gregory looked like?
Yeah,
Very
I know.
Strange.
I know. They just don't, liberals just aren't good looking, I guess. I mean, Fox has better looking people. But he's not going to last. And the reason these shows are failing is twofold. Because the endless Trump bashing, and most people in this country, more than they want to admit, support the President Trump. That's part of it. And also, they spew nothing but lies to the American people. Everything they tell you is a lie. It's got a liberal spin. They speculate and pass it off as, we speculate all the time, but we're not a news program. They pass themselves off as news, the MSNBC news, CNN. There's news is in the title. It's news.
Fox News.
Right, Fox News. But it's speculation, and people are sick of being lied to, and they're sick of the endless Trump bashing. And more, the more they bash him, the more people support Trump.
Well, this goes into
that's why his ratings are in the toilet.
This goes into what I was talking about on the morning show today, and I did not come up with this term. Jack Posobiec did, and it's a very good term. And it's called a preemptive coup against Trump in 2024. Jack Posobiec started talking about this, a preemptive coup against Trump 2024.
Yeah.
And what they have going on, we've been talking about some of this. We talked about it on the podcast yesterday, right? There's a handful of people they have that are conservatives with a conservative audience that are trashing President Trump, right? Ben Shapiro, Laura Ingraham. We talked about Ann Coulter yesterday.
Now Steve Doocy.
And now Steve Doocy on Fox and Friends.
Yep, that's what's happening.
And why Doocy is doing this, Ben Shapiro and Ann Coulter have always been open never Trumpers. Laura Ingraham has been hiding it and is out of the closet. What Doocy's game is, I don't know, but I'll tell you.
It's not just Doocy, it's Fox.
Well, yeah.
And they're moving in that direction, and you're going to see more Fox, Brett Baer too. You're going to see more Fox personalities moving, trying to pull people away from Trump. They're doing it with Brett Baer, Doocy. You're going to start seeing it more.
Well, where I go to for my news is, of course, on television, it's Newsmax. Although with the lineup change with Greg Kelly on late at night now, that's too late for me. I'm not watching Greg Kelly anymore, sadly, because I have to be in bed long before that to be up in the morning to be on the air. And Greta is not really my favorite, even though I interviewed Greta a couple weeks ago. It's just kind of
our podcast runs at 6 anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah, but I don't like that lineup change they've done.
I watch Greg Kelly at night, and he's as good as ever.
But one thing I've started doing is it's available on Alexa. I don't know what other devices it's available on, but OAN. I've been listening to OAN, and I've been listening to more of it this week than ever because of all these attacks on Christina Bobb. So I said, let me check out OAN, and they're doing pretty good. And I must say, they're basically not on television anymore to speak of.
So they're just on Alexa?
They're on some cable system somewhere.
But you can get them on Alexa all the time.
You can get them on Alexa all the time. I do believe they have an app, but if you tell Alexa, play that's the radio, WWNN. You can listen to me on the radio. But you can listen to OAN on Alexa by saying, Alexa, play One American News.
Okay.
And then it'll play. And I was just in the kitchen right before the podcast after I got off the phone with Marco Rubio. That's what I did. I interviewed Marco Rubio, got off the phone, went and loaded the dishwasher, came here, did the podcast.
That's right.
And while I was loading the dishwasher, I was listening to OAN on Alexa.
And after this, we're going to do some laundry.
Yeah, that's great.
It never ends.
That's right.
Brian always helps me around the house, which is great.
That's right. But Fox News, they just have not learned. And I don't know why they got rid of Chris Wallace. They have all these anti-Trumpers over there. Shepard Smith should have stayed. He made a big mistake leaving.
He did.
These are his friends.
He made a huge mistake leaving, and I don't know why he did. He just had a little hissy fit over Tucker Carlson. But I think what happened is Fox got scared with what happened when they lost a lot of viewers in 2020. They lost a ton, and then they hired all these liberals like Donna Brazile and all these people. Then they switch gears, and they kind of went back true to their form. You know what they were a little bit. You know, they said, right, let's pull it back a little bit. But now I think because the election is coming and I think Trump winning all these primaries
freaked him out.
It has freaked them out. Yeah. And I don't think they want to have anything to do with helping him win, because I'm sure they feel they helped him win, which I don't think but they gave him a lot of airtime. And, you know, you were talking to somebody on the radio who was talking about Hannity and all this and how he's pro-Trump. And you said to the person, has he had him on his show? Mm-hmm. He has not. What does that tell you about Hannity's clout at Fox? It tells you that he has none. Mm-hmm. Because I think he would love to have Trump on his show. I think he still likes Trump, but
they won't let him.
They won't let him. And Hannity also is concerned with his career. And I don't think he's going to push back too hard because he wants to preserve his spot there. But they won't let him on. They are not going to let Trump on their network again.
No.
But they'll bring on his kids.
That's right.
Which is weird, but not him.
But not Trump. Trump's banned from Fox. This was reported about a month ago.
Yeah.
And now we have all this breaking news since the break-in of Mar-a-Lago, and he hasn't been on. Now, listen, if any of you watch Fox and Friends or any of these other morning television shows, stop doing that and listen to me on the radio. And like I said, you can watch me live stream on the radio on YouTube. On YouTube, you can find me. Just search Brian Craig on YouTube. But you can also, if you're not into YouTube or on YouTube, you can also listen to me on your
iHeartRadio.
Well, yeah, on the iHeartRadio app. Just search for WWNN, 2 W's, 2 N's. And you can also listen to me on Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play WWNN radio. And I'll come right up, and I'm on the air from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. weekday mornings. And you can listen to me and tell all your friends, stop listening to this anti-Trump rhetoric that is on television. And, it's really amazing to me. Obviously, I don't watch Fox and Friends seriously because I'm on the air at that time, and no one should. But I did watch Doocy. I went up to the website and pulled this up. Doocy's defense that I played there, that was just a clip of it. It went on for 7-8 minutes. And it was an enthusiastic defense of the FBI break-in of Mar-a-Lago, attacking, well, what are these documents doing there? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you listen to the whole thing, he sounded like an FBI sycophant, like a groupie.
He was like their spokesperson.
Yeah, I mean, it was really like
he was the Jean-Pierre of the FBI.
And Brian kept trying to take it back and be like, well, and offering up the other side.
That didn't
I don't
happen,
think he did it strongly enough, though. I'm sure he did more on his own show. He has a radio show. But, like I said, I think Steve Doocy is taking that show into a path where they're going to start having bad ratings.
Now Bongino went on the attack against Doocy today. And see, they're going to have a big problem over there because there's a lot of people on Fox News that hate Trump, but there's some that are like us with Trump, like Dan Bongino.
Yeah, and Pete Hegseth, Rachel Campos, and
if I'm somewhere where someone is sitting on a couch next to me, trashing Trump like Joe Scarborough,
what would you do?
I know that's gonna hurt me because if I sit there and allow that to happen, which I would never do, people are going to start to think that's me. So people like Dan Bongino, they're going to have to stand up against Steve Doocy and say this is not right, this is not what I believe, because they don't want to get damaged in their brand.
Well,
and their work and their content, and you cannot let.
Yeah,
I wouldn't let that happen. Let me tell you, if I were doing that show with Steve Doocy and he did that, and I couldn't stop it, I'd walk off on live TV.
The problem is,
I'd walk off.
Yeah, the problem is Brian's whole career, Brian Kilmeade's entire career, is wrapped up in Fox News.
Well, he's got to take a stand.
He has the morning show. He sometimes is on Outnumbered. His whole life is wrapped up in Fox. That's his career. So he's walking a tightrope and I know he supports Trump, Brian Kilmeade. I know he's a Trump guy. And he does documentaries. I mean, he's making a boatload of money off Fox News. He's one of their top guys. So his thinking is, do I want to jeopardize my career over this? I'm pulling in $25 million a year or whatever, $10 million a year. I'm living a lovely life with my family. Do I want to destroy my career or upset my bosses over this?
Well, my guess would be,
I mean, that's a question a lot of people contemplate.
My guess is, based on what I saw on there today, Brian Kilmeade was pissed. And I think that they got into an argument before the show, and I bet you they got into a bigger one after. Now, I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And, Patreon supporters get exclusive content and sneak peeks on things. Like, for example, right before the podcast here and right before the dishes, I interviewed Senator Marco Rubio, and that interview will air tomorrow on the radio. But Patreon supporters, the Marco Rubio interview is there for you now. You get the interview first, and you get it early, and boom, it's right there. And you can listen to it now if you're a Patreon supporter. Even if you become a Patreon supporter right now, you'll have access to it. So there is exclusive content for Patreon supporters. Also, all Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of every podcast episode that we do. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every show. And our top Patreon supporters also have their names listed in the description of every podcast episode. And I just started doing this week. Top Patreon supporters also have their names listed in every YouTube video that I upload. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, and LePaul. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link to our Patreon page in the description of this and every episode. We'll be right back after this.
Real estate is hot, and when you're looking for financing for your home, you want a company that can help you through the entire process. And that's what you will find with UnitedOneMortgage.com. That's the number one. UnitedOneMortgage.com are a local direct in-house lender and mortgage broker that services the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia areas. Their mission is to provide the highest quality service while giving the simplest explanation in the most expeditious manner. They can help you with all types of loan products, conventional loans, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and many more. Their average clear to close is 15 days or less. Contact them online right now and speak to a member of their team. UnitedOneMortgage.com. That's the number one, or call them directly. 703-889-7669. 703-889-7669. United One Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 1460211. And visit nmlsconsumeraccess.org. When it comes to being organized, there's a simple solution. The reusable extension cord organizer wraps on Amazon. These heavy-duty storage straps will help you tidy up your garage, shed, workshop, boat, RV, or any other space. You're going to save yourself a ton of time and money with these straps. They can hold up to 50 pounds each. Each extension cord strap is made out of heavy-duty weatherproof webbing, so you can use them indoors or outdoors. They'll make your organizing easier and help clean up your space in a jiffy. They're easy to use, versatile, and a great value for your money. Buy them on Amazon right now. Reusable extension cord organizer wraps. Just search Tidy N-E-Z. That's T-I-D-Y, the letter N-E-Z. Tidy N-E-Z on Amazon.com. If you're looking for some fun t-shirts with a MAGA viewpoint, look no further than Parody Boss Designs. That's all one word on Etsy.com. They have funny Biden parody t-shirts, pro-Trump shirts, patriotic shirts, pro-Trump hats, and much, much more. Start shopping right now. Go to Etsy.com and search Parody Boss Designs. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Parody Boss Designs on Etsy.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I was just reading, listen to this. Bed Bath & Beyond will close 150 stores and lay off 20% of its staff as sales plunge, while Snapchat's parent company plans to cut more than 1,000 jobs as ad dollars dry up. Bed Bath & Beyond announced major cost-cutting moves today. They're going to lose 150 stores, cut its workforce. They've secured a $500 million financing loan. Oh, my goodness. Sales are down.
Who would give them a loan?
They're getting ready. I know. Sales are down 26% from a year ago. You know,
oh, my goodness.
You know, they are one of the companies that canceled Mike Lindell and MyPillow.
Yeah.
And this is what they don't understand, these people, okay? What goes on, what's happened with this woke culture is you have someone that goes – Jesse Jackson used to make a living doing this. Okay, the heyday of Jesse Jackson was during the Clinton era.
Yeah, the shakedown.
Yeah, and Jesse Jackson was close friends with Bill Clinton. So what Jesse Jackson would do is he would go – just pick a company at random. He'd go there and accuse them of racial discrimination. He would tell them, if you make a donation to the Rainbow Push Coalition, it'll go away. Otherwise, I'm going to have to call my friend President Clinton and call the media, and they're going to be all over you. And
kind of like how the mob works when they would go into a business and say pay protection money.
It's the exact same thing. It was a shakedown. And now it's a little different. It happens to these companies, but it doesn't happen as much for the money as it did with Jesse Jackson or the mob as it does for these wokesters. These wokesters, they go and threaten a company. You got to do it. And if you don't do this, you're in trouble. So next thing you know, you got a company teaching critical race theory to their employees and building, allowing men to use the ladies' room and kicking out great companies. And this is the thing that they don't understand. These companies, a lot of their executives and everything are from the woke culture in like New York City and places like this. and they don't understand what the people of America are like. It's very interesting. You've seen some interviews with Jared Kushner lately, and Jared Kushner, I saw a very good interview with him last week. I can't remember if it was on Newsmax or Fox we watched. It was one of the two. Mm-hmm. And he talked about how he lived and grew up on the Upper East Side of New York, and he says, I was among artists and people from the fashion industry, and I thought I was around enlightened people. And, because he was this rich kid who didn't know what the real world was like, even though he was successful in business even, until he went to a Trump rally and started meeting everyday Americans. And these wokesters are out of touch with everyday Americans. And getting back to this with Bed Bath & Beyond, I believe, and I think this is very, very true, and I think many of you will agree, that Bed Bath & Beyond, their sales have plummeted so much because they kicked out Mike Lindell.
I think that's a big part of it.
And, Bed Bath & Beyond, they're not just in malls. I know sometimes they are, but they have a lot of retail locations in strip malls.
We have one not far from us, and it's right next to a Best Buy. And if you go into a Bed Bath & Beyond, I haven't been in a long, long time.
I hate that store.
But I've been a couple times. I think they used to have one at the Sawgrass. Maybe. I can't remember. But they are huge. They are huge, huge stores with massive overhead. Okay. I mean, they're like the ceiling is like 3 or 4 stories up.
Yeah.
They have merchandise all the way up, like this huge wall. Mm-hmm. It's insane. They're so big. The merchandise they bring in is massive. And they have, a lot of employees. They're huge, huge places. And I think the Mike Lindell thing, because probably most of the people that shop at Bed Bath & Beyond are like white middle class women.
Well, the stores are located. Okay, Bed Bath & Beyond stores primarily are located in suburban neighborhoods, and suburban people are Trump people.
Well, yeah, that's
and if you're a Trump person, you're a Mike Lindell My Pillow person.
Yeah.
And when they say that Mike Lindell's not good enough for our store, they're saying we are not good enough for the store. And I'll tell you, I've never liked Bed Bath & Beyond because I always thought the store was a mess and had too much product in it.
Too much stuff in there.
Yeah, it's just a mess.
You get so confused.
It's so frustrating,
Yeah.
But I would go in occasionally to buy something, and especially at Christmas, if I couldn't think of something to get like one of our moms, I'd go to Bed Bath & Beyond and buy a Keurig or something.
Yeah, I haven't been in a long time.
But since they kicked out Mike Lindell, I haven't been in a Bed Bath & Beyond.
I wonder if they still have Mike Lindell's at Kohl's. I don't
know. Kohl's canceled.
I remember seeing them there a long time ago.
Kohl's canceled Mike Lindell too.
They used to have a big section in Kohl's in the back with like racks that would have the My Pillow stuff on
and
it.
And they kicked them out.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of that and wokeism.
Well,
and certain
Bed
policies.
Bath & Beyond is going through this very specifically because of Mike Lindell. It's just like Target had huge decline in sales because of their transgendered bathrooms and dressing rooms and all this stuff.
They went down, I read an article, 70%.
I saw one that said 90.
90, that's it, 90%. How can a company lose that much money because of their transgendered clothing line of like the bras that push down?
Well, I'll tell you what Target did. Okay,
they push down the boobs.
They did a number of things. This transgender clothes stuff, the men going to the bathroom, the ladies' room, and the dressing room. But another thing that Target did is, guys, I wear T-shirts all the time, and I know that I wear Trump shirts. Like I'm wearing a Trump shirt right now.
Yeah, that's his whole wardrobe.
But before the Trump campaign heated up, they had a gay activist already at Target, and I would go and buy T-shirts because they have a lot of T-shirts that fit in the things from the 80s.
They do have a lot of cool T-shirts.
And I didn't realize this at first, but I bought a Star Wars T-shirt and I bought a Star Trek T-shirt. Mm-hmm. And I was wearing this one Star Trek T-shirt, and I went into a Best Buy in this Star Trek T-shirt, and they had a sales girl at the door that was trying to sell people the Dish Network or something. And as I walked in, I saw her talking to people, and everybody was just walking past. And she saw my T-shirt, and she asked me, she says, "Oh, you're out, like gay."
I know that shirt, and I told you it was a gay shirt when you bought it, and you didn't want to believe me.
And
it had a rainbow on it.
So I'm like, what is this?
I said, what, are you gay now? You came home with this T-shirt from Target? You said, what are you talking about?
So I had this Star Trek shirt on. It had the Enterprise on it.
Yes.
And it had this rainbow thing on it. And Kathy had been telling me that it was a gay rainbow T-shirt at Target.
Months.
And I'm like, no, that's the colors of the warp when the Enterprise goes to warp.
So naive.
And then this girl thought I was gay because I shirt. And then
meanwhile, he stopped wearing the shirt after that.
And then I came home and I looked at my Star Wars shirt from Target, and it has a TIE fighter on it, and it's got a rainbow in the back of it too.
Exactly.
So the gays just destroyed Target. The wokesters have destroyed Bed Bath & Beyond.
They destroyed the Boy Scouts too.
And you know what? They don't care, like they're doing to Disney, right? The wokesters are destroying Disney right now.
Disney, I just read an article how they have this one blogger that goes to the parks all the time, and they were there the other day, and they said it was a ghost town, and they put pictures, and I said to you, it's like it's the 90s right now in Disney.
Mm-hmm.
There's like nobody there. It's great if you want to go when the park's empty, but they have really it's okay to have, look, I have no problem with a store selling LGBTQ
but this was subliminal.
Okay, it doesn't, right, that's subliminal. It doesn't bother me. But when they start selling clothes for transgender children, like underwear with fake penises and suppression bras, I have a problem with that. And when they let men in the women's restroom, that's when I really stopped going to Target as much. I really don't go that often. But if I do go, I'm like afraid to go to the bathroom, and I'll have Brian stand right outside the main door. Of course, the women going in might think you're a creep, but I have him stand outside the main door because I don't like being in there. It's a little scary, and there's only one way in and one way out. It makes me nervous. So I don't like to go to Target for that reason. I know it's silly. I'm on diuretics. I have to pee like every 30 minutes. So when I'm in a store, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have to use the restroom before I leave. So that is one reason I avoid Target. And Target was always one of my favorite stores. I love Target, but a lot of people, apparently, I didn't realize their sales were so low.
It's because of the bathroom thing.
And it's because of that. It's the wokeism.
And by the way, the dressing rooms at Target are also unisex too.
You
just like
went
their
in to
bathrooms.
tai on something a couple months ago. Like
At
I said, we
Target.
go to Target every few months, once in a while. And you went and tried on something. And there were women in the dressing room next door.
I couldn't believe it.
I just that shocked me when you told me that.
Yeah,
they
there was
no longer
there
have
were these
separate dressing rooms.
So it was the dressing room stall next to mine, and there were these 2 girls in there talking about all the sex they were having, and it was very graphic. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then when I left the dressing room, they came out, and I'm like, who are the guys having sex with these 2 women? I mean, I couldn't believe they were they were very repulsive.
And then you pointed them out to me, and they were not very unattractive.
No, I mean, there were some desperate guys out there.
There's somebody for everybody.
I guess so. Now, I want to just talk here for a moment about my interview with Marco Rubio. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it will air on the radio tomorrow. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, you can go right now to my Patreon page. And I did make this available to Patreon supporters, the entire Marco Rubio interview, which is a very good interview. And he brought up something that I did not realize in the interview. And I'm pretty good at picking these things up.
It was a very good interview, by the way.
Yeah, and Marco Rubio, he is running for re-election. He's one of our 2 United States senators here in Ron DeSantis' free Florida. And he's running against a woman named Val Demings, who I've been talking about quite a bit. And she's a very dangerous person. She's in the House of Representatives. She used to be a police chief in Orlando. She's a supporter of not just paying off the college loans that people have taken, but she's supported the defund the police movement and everything. And I've been talking quite a bit about how Val Demings, and I talked to Senator Rubio about this. I said, it's amazing. I watch her television commercials. They're on television constantly. And not only does she never say she's a Democrat, she's trying to make viewers think she's a Republican. And he said to me, Marco Rubio, she says, yeah, that's true. But she also doesn't tell people she's in Congress. And that's
true.
And I didn't pick up on that. Marco Rubio did. And we talked about this quite a bit. She's been in Congress 6 years. She has not passed any legislation except one piece to rename a couple of post offices. She's been in the House of Representatives for 6 years. And that's a pretty crazy thing. But here's the thing. Those of you in Florida a lot of MAGA Republicans, I get it, have a lot of problems with Marco Rubio because in the primary, in Trump's first primary, Marco Rubio was getting kind of rough with Trump. It was very nasty, like everybody else that was running against Trump. It was like Jeb. You got to let that go. This woman that is running in the Democrat side of things against Marco Rubio, she has the entire Democrat machine behind her. She was on the short list to be Biden's running mate right behind Kamala. She has a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood. She's as radical as it gets.
Yeah.
But
you would never know by looking at her ads because
she's very slick.
The only thing she talks about is
she acts like she's tough on crime.
That she's tough on crime. And
but she never she does not mention in any of her ads that she's a member of Congress
or her record of
which
anything.
I thought was amazing. I didn't even think about that.
No, that's true. And I have to say this about Marco Rubio. It was a very good interview. And I think when he ran for president, he got very caught up in everything. And he did apologize for making those comments about Trump's hands and how he shouldn't have allowed the campaign and the excitement of all that to try to make him make those kind of comments. I think he was trying to be like Trump. And I think maybe
nobody
somebody
can be like Trump.
I think somebody on his campaign was like, you got to start making fun of him. And that'll help you because it was helping Trump.
Yeah.
And I think he realized after that it was a mistake. And I have to say, I would like to see more. And I was very impressed when he went to that CNN town hall and faced those kids.
I saw him there.
And I was very impressed by him with your interview. He's very intelligent, and I was very impressed by him. So he has my full support now. And he should definitely have yours. And please make sure you go out and vote because you do not want to lose this Senate seat. She is a radical. And like he said, she votes with Pelosi 100% of the time. And he said that is the reason they're giving her so much money to her campaign right now is because Pelosi wants her in the Senate very, very badly because she votes with her. Well, she's in Congress, but she votes with the Senate 100% of the time and with what Pelosi tries to pass.
Well, I'm going to spend right now till Election Day promoting Marco Rubio. It goes into one of those things. The big picture is Trump, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want any Democrat to win. We want Republicans to win everything, especially MAGA Republicans. And we need him. If this Democrat lady becomes the senator from Florida in his spot, we're done. She'll be there for the rest of her life.
Yeah, and I really would like to see DeSantis and Marco do a rally together, like in Orlando or Miami would be great. Miami's his home turf. That's where Rubio lives. I would I'd love to see Trump there, but even if he doesn't have Trump, I would love to see DeSantis do a rally to help Rubio and promote him and have it on TV and really do. Yeah. He really needs to do a little bit more to help him because everybody loves DeSantis. He needs it. And he really needs, that push from DeSantis.
The ads that Val Demings has
Trump too would help
on television, and she's very active on TikTok too, she's an old lady. She's very active on TikTok.
Yeah, she's into social media.
Whoever is doing her marketing for her campaign, I believe are the same people that did AOC's because I see the same style with her ads that AOC used when she ran for Congress the first time.
Her ads are some of the best I've ever seen.
And I don't
honest to God, they're that
awful.
Good. They're slick. She's polished. She's attractive.
They're very
confident.
devious. They're very devious.
They're very well done. She's extremely
They're all lies. They're all lies.
Yeah, exactly.
Clever lies, but lies.
Yeah, very deceptive.
Yeah, so check that out. So anyway, guys, we're going to take off for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.
From director and producer Jason Lohman comes the action film Rescue. All he wanted was his daughter back. Jake loses his wife and oldest daughter to an unfortunate accident. As Jake and his second daughter Leah are trying to cope with their loss and get their lives back to normal as a new family of two, their lives are turned upside down when Leah is kidnapped. Once Jake learns of Leah's abduction, with training in martial arts and as a veteran, he instinctively pursues the kidnappers. With brazen determination, he sets out on a quest only to find himself one step behind the kidnappers, with Leah captive in their clutches. Jake soon discovers his daughter is being sold to the cartel by kidnappers and does what any father should do: rescue her. Rescue has won many awards and received accolades, and now you can watch this amazing film online at rescue.movie. Watch today Rescue from director and producer Jason Lohman.